If y'all take a look at the field, you're gonna see I got some rain. It's still, the grass is starting to kind of grow in, but if it stays warm for about another week, I'll go ahead and I'll start fertilizing the grass. And but I did get a little bit of rain. Maybe I got an inch or two of rain. It wasn't a lot, but I mean, I did get a good bit of rain. So it wasn't like a torrential rain or anything. And so the plan right now is here in about 4 days I'll start liquidating animals. That's one of the animals that I'll be going. And so in 4 days I'll be liquidating animals. And this morning, while I was taking a look at everything, I actually came to a realization about something, and I figured I would give you all this information. And so I was taking a look at everything, and I was taking a look at 2 different scenarios. I was taking a look at a scenario where I actually utilized debt, and then I was looking at a scenario where I didn't utilize debt. And then I came to a conclusion that and I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. And I actually realized that when I use debt, you can actually get the same results without using debt as you can with using debt. It will just take more time. That's what I've realized. And here's a very realistic way to put it. Let's say I take a look at my animals and I say, you know what, these 33 animals, when I take a look at them right now and I got my business plan, and if I run my business plan, I would anticipate that if I sold these 33 animals, I could buy 55 animals, but they're not all at market weight, right? If I was going to go to the business plan and I was going to stick to the business plan, I would be taking these animals to market at about 750. And I mean, there are other metrics that need to be met, right? I mean, I have other things that need to be met. If the animals start eating over 20 buckets a day, then I'm actually going to start liquidating the biggest ones. There are other metrics that need to be met, right? I got this whole business plan laid out, right? There are things that need to happen. There are certain objectives that need to be hit, right? I mean, I talked about all of these different things that I got going on, right? If my animals start eating more than 20 buckets a day, I will start liquidating the biggest ones. Right now, they're actually eating less because they're actually eating some grass. They're eating about 25% of their diet in grass. I've actually noticed a substantial reduction in the amount of food that they're eating, and et cetera, right? Here within the next month, I think that I'll actually have some good weather conditions for optimal biomass accumulation on the grass. And I'm going to be fertilizing the grass. I need to come up with an idea of how I'm going to do that. What am I going to put on the what am I going to put on the grass, et cetera, right? So I have these different things that I need to accomplish, and if those things get accomplished, then I make money. I don't worry about it. All right, and so I was taking a look at it, and I was like, you know what? It's kind of interesting, and I didn't really think about this ever before until this morning. And I was taking a look at my business plan, and I was taking a look at it for what it is, and I actually came to the realization that I can actually do the exact same thing without debt as I can with debt. I can. Like, if I and this is actually a very realistic way for me to put it. Let's say that I take a look at my herd right now, and I would say that these 33 animals, I would say that the average weight on them is about 550, right? The average weight on them is about 500, 550, something like that. And, maybe even up to 600, something like that. And, when I liquidate these animals, I've taken a look at the local commodity market. I've taken a look at the kind of animals that I have, and I've given them a fair appraisal value. And I would anticipate that when I sell these 33 animals, if I were to sell them today, I could actually go and I can actually buy 53 animals. I'm actually in the net positive 20 animals. I could actually buy 53 animals. But, I would anticipate that I actually have about another 3 or 4 months for these animals to be substantially profitable. There are different metrics that I am keeping an eye on, right? How much feed are they eating, right? If they're eating anything less than 20 buckets a day, the grass is effectively free, right? I mean, if they're eating 25% of their diet in grass, that's very good. That's very good for the budget, and that's very good for the business, right? And so, et cetera, right? I'm keeping track of these different metrics. I'm taking a look at my business, taking a look at the balance sheet, taking a look at where do I think the balance sheet is going, et cetera, what criteria need to be met for my business to be profitable, et cetera, right? I'm keeping an eye on all of these things. I've always said that, running a business is not easy. It's not a joke. Nobody cares what you think. If you want to go and run a $5 million cattle business like me, then go and do it. Nobody's stopping you. All right, the $1,500 a month is the least of your worries. There are a lot of things that need to happen for you to be able to run this business. Nobody cares about your dreams. All right, if you want to go and you want to run a multi-million-dollar business and you want to be a first-generation cattle farmer like me, then have fun. Go and do it. Nobody's stopping you. Nobody cares about your opinions. All right, nobody cares about your dreams. I mean, let's see it. Money talks. All right, and so, you know, and that's what I take a look at everything. I take a look at everything that I got going on. And here's what I mean by debt. It doesn't really make a difference. It does make a difference, but I will tell you the difference. The difference is time. All right, and here's a very realistic way to look at it. So I say, you know, I take a look at my herd and I say, you know what, these 33 animals, I would say that they're worth about 53 animals, right? You know, I got some animals that are kind of big. And the market, you know, the market weight right now, I'm looking to take these animals to market at about 750. And, you know, I would say that I start liquidating these animals here starting about next week. And, you know, if I were to just hold on to these animals until they were not profitable anymore, I would actually anticipate that these 33 animals can actually go all the way up to about 60 animals worth of equity. And I'm sitting on about 53 right now. You know, a portion of my herd is actually already at market weight. I'm going to start liquidating those animals, right? I have the least margin to be made on those animals, and I've already made the most amount of money on them. So I'm going to cash out the largest animals. I got the smaller animals, right? The animals are still liquidable, right? And so, you know, I take a look at my situation and I say, well, if I sell these 33 animals, I could actually buy 53 animals. But instead of waiting 5 months, instead of waiting 4 months to sell my 33 animals, I'm just going to go ahead and buy the 53 animals right now, because I believe that that is a reasonable thing to do. I'm not too worried about these animals. You know, these animals, that they've been stabilized, I'm not too worried about it. I'm just going to go ahead and buy the 53 animals right now. So now I don't have to wait 4 or 5 months. But I could still buy the 53 animals. If I wanted to, I could actually probably buy about 60. If I took all these animals to maximum market weight, if I took all these animals to maximum market weight, 750, and then I liquidated them, you know, sets at a time, you know, I could achieve the same results. It would just take me longer. And that's actually the conclusion that I came to this morning, because I was taking a look at my numbers and I was like, the numbers are like identical. The numbers are identical, but the amount of time that it would achieve, the amount of time that it would take for me to achieve the numbers is what is different. Could I buy 55 animals? Could I buy 60 animals if I sold these animals? Sure, I could. But it would take me about 4 months. It would take me about 5 months. If instead of waiting 4 or 5 months, I just went ahead and bought the 53 animals today, I could do it instantaneously. All right, but that's also very, very, very dangerous, right? I talk about this, and you know, and I don't suggest ever, you know, if you're ever in an idea, you know, in terms of a fundamental belief system, if you're in a situation where you think that putting money into something is going to make it better, that is not correct. You know, throwing money at something is not ever going to fix anything. All right, if it's a bad idea and you throw money at it, it's just going to become a worse idea. All right, so, you know, I'm not telling you to go and take debt to start a business. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just looking to, you know, expand your mind on how to think about things critically, think about things, and I'm just giving my perspective, because that's the thing about me, is that and just to be completely sincere and completely honest about it, I mean, you know, I make multiple hundreds of times of more money than the average person, multiple hundreds. All right, like if you took a person, you know, there are legitimately, honest to God, there are times when I go to a city, and you know, there'll be a small city. I will go to that city and I will take a look, you know, and I will be looking for a property in that city, and I will see the income data of that city, and I will actually make more money by myself than the entire city of people combined. The entire city. All right, so you know, it just is what it is, and I'm, you know, and I figured this is kind of interesting, right? Because it's like, you know, me, I legitimately have zero money concerns. I'm not worried about money at all. I have zero money concerns. Money does not concern me at all. I make multiple hundreds of times of more money than the average person. Multiple hundreds. All right, and I'm looking to show you what I think about, because if I show you what I think about, it will become a part of your reality. All right, a lot of times when you take a look at these, it's not as a lot of times when you have a legitimate poor person, right? And it's like, you probably don't understand that you act like a poor person. Most people act like legitimate poor people, not broke people, but legitimately poor people. A lot of people do. All right, and it's like, and you probably don't understand that, but it's very easy to see. Once you've seen it, you cannot unsee it. And here's the billion dollar question. Wouldn't it be nice to live in a world where everybody was more or less in a situation where they did not worry about money at all? Wouldn't that be nice? Think about it. I mean, you don't have anybody trying to bum anything off of you. You don't have anybody acting like a beggar. Everybody's just kind of like, I already make enough money. It's, I make enough money to do effectively anything on the entire planet. I'm not struggling for money in any sense. I have an idea of how to make money. It's just, wouldn't that be nice? And you cannot give that to people. That's not possible, right? Because if you give somebody a fish, the moment that they run out of if you give somebody a fish, they will eventually run out of fish. All right, and then they're effectively going to go right back to acting like a bum forever. They're going to be a beggar forever, right? Oh my God, altruism. Well, thank God I'm a good person, right? Oh my God, well, I'm poor because I'm a good person. Oh well, maybe if I, if I fit in and I act like a buddy pal and whatever, then maybe I can whatever, right? I can make an extra $1,000, and all of that is complete nonsense. None of that makes money. If you really want to make money, how do you do it? You take your money and you buy good investments, you buy good assets, and then you hold on to those investments and those assets forever. That is how you make money. Forever, that is legitimately the answer. All right, and I've talked about this. Why is it theoretically impossible for you to lose all of your money in the S&P 500? Let's say that you find the S&P 500. I've given good examples. I've given examples of many different assets, right? I even talked about Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is an individual stock, but I think that the stock is good. Let's talk about the S&P 500. I've talked about this in terms of a broader idea. Why is it theoretically impossible for you to lose half of your money if you invest in the S&P 500? And if you are worried about losing half of your money in the S&P 500, you should actually be more worried about it going the other way. Rampant inflation. Right? I actually think that inflation is going to be a problem for probably the next 10 years. All right, you should be more worried about it going the other way. If you're legitimately going to be worried about the economy going a certain direction, you should be more worried about it going the other way. All right, there are broader economic forces at hand, etc., etc. But why is it theoretically impossible for you to lose half of your money in the S&P 500? Why is that theoretically impossible? Because if you were to lose half of your money in the S&P 500, that would mean you put all of your money in at the very top, all of your money, forever, the money that you were going to make forever today and forever, you put all of that money in at the very top. Half of the U.S. economy evaporated instantaneously the moment you did that. The economy did not grow at all after that. There was legitimately zero growth in the economy, and the dividend of the stock went to zero. That is what you're talking about. That is theoretically impossible. If you legitimately think that that is going to happen, you're an idiot. It is not going to happen. Just the dividend alone makes that impossible. And the dividend of the SPY is not 1.75, it's 1.2%. But still, even at 1.2%, if you held on to your stock, it is theoretically impossible for you to lose half of your money if you buy the S&P. Theoretically impossible. And if it were to happen, what is the first thing that you should do? Go to the bank and borrow money. Why? Because the overall assets of the entire U.S. economy is counterbalanced by the U.S. Treasury bond. That's why. If assets were to legitimately tank in half immediately, interest rates would go borderline zero negative. You could borrow money for free. Congratulations, it doesn't even matter. So it is theoretically impossible for you to lose half of your money in the S&P 500. You would have had to put all of the money you were ever going to put into the S&P 500 forever in at the very top. Half of the U.S. economy would have had to evaporate overnight, and the dividend of the stock would have had to gone to 0%. and then the economy would have had to gone sideways forever. That is not possible. And if you're legitimately worried about something like that happening, you should actually be more concerned about things going the other way. Rampant inflation. The central bank sees that happening, takes the interest rates negative, and prints trillions of dollars. You should be more concerned about that. All right, it's theoretically not possible. The S&P 500 is a very good asset. It is effectively a gauge for the entire U.S. economy. When you buy the S&P 500, when you buy the SPY stock, you are buying a small equity stake of the 500 biggest companies in all of America. The S&P 500 is effectively a gauge for the entire U.S. economy. If the S&P 500 were to go to 50%, that would mean effectively half of the U.S. economy evaporated. If you were to legitimately lose half of your money investing in the S&P 500, that would mean that all of the money you were ever going to put in the S&P 500, you put it in at the very top of the market. Half of the U.S. economy evaporated overnight, and once that happened, the economy went sideways forever, and the dividend of the stock went to 0%, which is theoretically impossible. Why would you even worry about that happening? That cannot happen. All right, it's not going to happen, and if it were going to happen, you should actually be more concerned about it going the other way. All right, the central bank legitimately thinks that the S&P 500 is going to fall 50%. Something has happened, and the central bank legitimately thinks that the S&P 500 is going to fall by 50%. They take the interest rates negative and print trillions of dollars. You should be more concerned about that. All right, do I think either of these situations are going to happen? No, I don't think either of these situations are going to happen. That's like a doomsday scenario, and that's ridiculous to think about. What do I honestly think is going to happen? I think inflation is going to be a little bit bad for about the next 10 years. I think it's going to be a little bit bad. And this is actually a very interesting thing to talk about, too. If you're holding on to cash because you think cash is safe, cash is not safe. There is over a 99.99999% chance that your cash is going to be eroded away by inflation. There is a drastic chance. All right, and this is the most realistic way for me to put it. If you're paying $1,500 a month for rent right now, in 10 years you will probably pay $2,000. Probably will. You will live in the exact same building more or less, but it will cost you more. And another thing that I used as an example of this is if you look at Coca-Cola right now, it's selling for about $1 a can. In 10 years, Coca-Cola will probably be selling for about $1.25 a can. It will probably go up by 25%. All right, if you think that holding on to cash is some safe investment, it's not. You are almost guaranteed to actually theoretically lose money holding on to cash. All right, the S&P 500 is a very good investment. It's not something like you don't have to become like some 1 in 5 billion farmer. All right, I don't know anybody that can even do 10% of what I do. Not even 10%. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. Money talks. It just is what it is. All right, I don't know what else to tell you. Nobody cares about your opinion. I'm the one who makes the money, and I'm the one with the money. It just is what it is. All right, trust me, I don't care. All right, oh my God, well, that's impossible. You'll keep it to yourself. All right, I don't know what else to tell you. It just is what it is, okay? I'm the one who makes the money, and I'm the one with the money. I make multiple hundreds of times more money. There is a very realistic chance that, okay, let's say that there are, whatever, right? 3, 4, whatever, 2, 3, 4, 500 of you watching this video. There's a very realistic chance that I actually make several hundreds of times more money than 98% of you. 93%, something like that. Several hundred times. I don't worry about money. All right, money does not concern me. I'm not ever worried about the cattle market going to zero. I'm not worried about I'm not worried about land values going to zero. Farming is one of those things that it is so immensely difficult that practically nobody can do it. I actually don't know anybody that can even do 10%. And if you want to think about that in terms of a monetary sense, I actually don't know anybody that can even make $2,000 a month on a 10.5 acre field. Not a single person. All right, it just is what it is. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I'm the one who makes the money, and at the end of the day, right? I don't care. I'm the one with the money. I'm the one who makes the money. I'm the one who knows how to make the money. It just is what it is. You know, there are legitimately times when I'll be looking at a piece of property in a city, in a small city. I'll be looking at a piece of property. Oh, maybe I'll buy a 350-acre field here. Maybe I'll buy a 500-acre field here. And I'll take a look at the city, and I will take a look at a population chart of that city. And I will take a look at the median income, and I will actually make more money than the entire city of people combined. There, you know, it happens very frequently. All right, it just is what it is. All right, you know, I don't know how else to put that. It, you know, it just is what it is. I'm not worried about cattle going to zero ever. I'm not worried about land going to zero ever. You know, granted that I stay committed to the business and whatever, right? Even if I go and buy myself a 500-acre field, even if I go and buy myself a 350-acre field, if I decide that I don't want to run cattle on a 350-acre field anymore, I could just sell the land and I could sell the cattle and I could just effectively get all my money back and just come back to a 10.5-acre field and make $20,000 a month for the rest of my life. And even then, I would not worry about money at all forever. All right, it would not matter to me. All right, you know, and so, you know, and so I've talked about all these various things, right? What are some good, I would not suggest that you look into becoming, if you are going to become a cattle farmer, I mean, you know, you have to understand that it is going to take a long time. All right, and if you're committed to that, if you're legitimately committed to that idea, I sincerely hope that you make it. There is legitimately zero way that you're going to make it in 5 years. There is zero way that you're going to make it in 10 years. Zero way. If you legitimately think, oh my God, well, you know, maybe I can become a farmer and I can do something like this in 10 years, you will actually end up launching yourself off a cliff. You will end up launching yourself off a cliff, you know, and this is the way that I put it. You know, when you take a look at this business is worth multiple millions of dollars, right? I mean, the evaluation of my business is worth multiple millions of dollars. The direction that I'm taking my business, you know, and I said that if you legitimately want to appraise your business, if you want to appraise your business, if you want to get a rough idea of what your business is worth, how do you do that? If you want to get a rough idea of what your business is worth, how do you do that? You ask yourself, what would I sell 10% of my business for? That's what you ask yourself, you know, and be honest to God about it. Just be honest about it. Be sincere about it. Ask yourself, would I sell 10% of my business, not half, would I sell 10% of my business for $500,000? No, I would not. Why? What am I going to do with 500 grand? 500 grand is a pathetic, worthless amount of money. I could go to the bank right now, get a $500,000. I could shovel a hole in the ground right now and put that $500,000 in that hole and I could light it on fire and it wouldn't even do anything. Why would I sell 10% of my business for $500,000? It's a worthless amount of money. What am I going to do with the $500,000? Am I going to retire? What is that going to do for me? It's not going to do anything. If I want a $500,000, I will just go to the bank and take a loan. $500,000 is a worthless amount of money. All right, what are you going to do with $500,000? Are you going to retire? Right? I mean, what are you going to do? Go skipping off into the sunset? Oh my God, now it's time for me to go and buy myself a boat. Now it's time for me to go and, you know, right? What am I going to do with the $500,000? Would I sell 10% of my business for $500,000? Honest to God, absolutely not. I would not do that. Why would I do that? All right, I mean, that's how you figure out what your business is worth, and just be honest about it. Be sincere about it. All right, and, you know, don't lie to yourself. Nobody cares about your dreams. Nobody cares about your delusional fantasies. Take a look at it for what it is. All right, you know, a lot of people get stuck in this, and I've already talked about in terms of business, you have to understand that almost, you know, it's like over 93% of people barely make enough to get by. Right, and then, you know, that's a fail. If you own a business and you're barely making enough to get by, you should have just gotten yourself a good job. If you got yourself a good job and you bought the S&P 500, you would not have had to have this life and death battle over nothing. There was no reason for you to own a business. Nobody cares about your dreams. All right, you know, and congratulations. If you really want to run a business, go and buy one, okay? Go and buy one. You know, check everything 5,000 times, go and buy one. All right, you don't want to be in a situation where you, oh my God, I'm going to start a business because it's always, you know, because I'm going to go on a la land journey and it's going to work out for me in some spectacular fashion. All right, and then my life is going to turn into some mystical, magical journey. And so I'm going to start this business. You start the business, there's no reason for you to start the business. You barely make enough to get by your entire life. You hold on to the thing for life and death for no reason for the next 40 years of your life. And then congratulations, now you're going to bankrupt when you're 70. Where if you had just gotten a job, you had gotten a good job, or you had bought yourself a business that was pretty good to begin with, and then you took your extra money and you invested it in something like the S&P 500 or a good whatever you choose, a good investment, and then you did that, you could actually never worry about money again, probably within about 10 years. It would take you about 10 years, and then you would never worry about money again, forever, your entire life. All right, and so, it's like, I don't know what else to tell you. All right, it's like, that's all it took, right? But here we are, life and death battle for no reason. Oh my God, everything's impossible. Oh my God, $2,000 a month, I can't do it. Right? Oh well, I wanna, and I wanna go on a magical journey, and all of that is, have fun being poor by yourself forever. All right, it's theoretically impossible. It is not possible for you to lose half of your money in the S&P 500. It is theoretically not possible. If something like that were to happen, interest rates would go borderline 0 to negative. You could borrow money for free. All right, so don't even worry about the S&P 500 evaporating into 50%, going sideways forever, and then your dividend going to a 0% yield. That is ridiculous. That will not happen ever for the eternity of whatever you can possibly imagine. All right, the S&P 500 is, you're not going to lose half of your money investing in the S&P 500. For you to do that, you would have had to shovel all of the money that you were ever going to put into the S&P 500, and at the very top of the market, half of the U.S. economy would have had to evaporate overnight. Then the market would have had to gone sideways forever, and the SPY dividend would have had to gone from 1.2% to 0%, all simultaneously. The chance of that happening, if you are legitimately worried that that is going to happen, you should be more worried about it going the other way. All right, congratulations. Now that you have the information, you never have to worry about money anymore. Are we gonna, see 98% of people succeed? No, we're not. That's the big thing, is that you can't give somebody a fish. I can give you the information, and I can tell you, what are the things that I see, and it just is what it is. I make multiple hundreds of times of more money than the average person. If you actually went into just a Walmart or anywhere, there are legitimately times when I am looking at buying a piece of land in a city, and I take a look at a population map of that city, take a look at the median income data, and I actually make more money by myself than the entire city of people combined. All right, it just happens. It just is what it is. All right, I gave you the information. I gave you the best information that I can. Find out for yourself, but the big problem is that most of the time, once you've become poor, you're not poor because some singular dimensional problem. You're a massive pile of problems. There are a lot of issues. It's not just one. All right, and you can't give people fish. It doesn't work. I'm giving you a reasonable way to go fishing for yourself. Here is how you can fish for yourself. No, I'm not going to give you a fish. It's like, why would you beg me for my fish? If you want to go and you want to figure out what it's like to run a multi-million-dollar business as a first-generation farmer by yourself on a 10.5-acre field, have fun, go and do it. Nobody's stopping you. It's a free country. Nobody's stopping you. Nobody cares about your dreams. Let's see it. Let's see it. Money talks. All right, let's see it. I haven't seen anybody to this day that can even do 10%. Nobody cares, all right? It just is what it is. The money talks. I haven't seen anybody do even 10%. All right, and I don't know what else to tell you. If you don't like it, throw yourself into a hole. Die poor by yourself forever. Don't take anybody else down with you. All right, if you really want to get ahead in life financially, and think about it like this, wouldn't it be very nice to live in a world where nobody had any money issues, and you cannot give that to people. Communism does not work. Eventually, or ultimately, what will have to happen is everybody will have to learn how to fish for themselves. Is everybody going to learn how to fish for themselves? Probably not. Why? Because a lot of times you're already permanently damaged. Massive pile of problems cannot be fixed under any circumstance. Even if I just tell you exactly how to do it, you will not do it. You will desperately hold on to being poor forever. Forever, for no good reason. There's no reason for you to be poor. Being poor does not benefit your life or anybody for at all. It does not. There is no benefit to being poor. But you will hold on to it forever for no reason. You will desperately hold on to being poor forever. Oh my God, it's safer to be poor. Oh my God, it makes me a better person to be poor. Oh my God, being poor, makes me a good person. Something. You'll hold on to being poor for oh my God, not being poor is impossible. All of that, it's a multi-dimensional problem. You could go from being poor to being broke instantaneously right now if you felt like it. Oh, I am poor and I'm going to go and do something about it. I'm going to start accumulating good assets. I'm going to hold on to these assets forever. It is theoretically impossible for this asset to go to 50%. It is theoretically impossible for me to lose half of my money investing in this asset. Granted that I continue to buy it forever. It is theoretically impossible. The dividend alone makes it impossible, and it's a good asset. It's a good asset. I mean, and if something were to happen horrendously, where half of your S&P, which is ridiculous, but if the S&P 500 were to drop significantly, it's being counterweighted by the U.S. Treasury bond. You would be able to borrow money at significantly reduced rates. You would be able to borrow money at borderline 0% interest rates. And if something like that happens, I will tell you, because guess what? I will be at the bank. Give me, if interest rates legitimately go borderline 0%, I will go to the bank and I'll be like, give me as much money as you will give me. It does not matter. It does not matter. Give me everything that you got. Whatever you will give me everything. And when I do that, I will tell you, if interest rates go borderline 0, I will tell you. All right, I will tell you, I will myself be at the bank. Legitimately give me a loan for $10 trillion. All right, don't worry about it. I'm just going to go and buy myself a massive amount of land and buy myself a massive, whatever. I will legitimately go and do it. And when I do it, I will tell you, and then I will tell you, you can borrow money right now for like 0%. All right, so it's theoretically impossible. It's theoretically impossible for you to lose half of your money in the S&P 500. It's a good asset. It's being counterbalanced by the U.S. Treasury bond. You don't have to worry about it. Buy it forever. Never worry about it. And if you do $2,000 a month for the next 10 years of your life, even if and along the way you can still utilize a portion of the capital. You can withdraw a few percentages if you have to, of your portfolio as you go, if you have to, if you really need the money, right? And et cetera, all right? But if you do that for 10 years, you will never worry about money again forever. Congratulations, have fun. But wouldn't that be nice, right? I mean, nobody's worried about money. Wouldn't that be nice? Can you give that to everybody? No, you can't. You have to earn it. There is no giving that to everybody. Communism does not work. I legitimately have zero money concerns. Zero, none. I don't worry about money at all. All right, not at all. Legitimately zero money concerns. I'm not, I don't worry about money at all. And wouldn't that be nice, right? Imagine living in a world where it's like, oh yeah, I've been purchasing this asset, and I've been purchasing this asset because it's a good asset, and it made me a reasonable positive return, and I bought the asset because technically there was a 0% probability that I will actually lose money if I hold on to this thing forever. It's a 0% probability if you just think about it, just because of the dividend yield and how ridiculous of an idea it is for you to lose half of your money if you invest in the S&P 500. And so wouldn't that be nice? It's like if I went and I talked to an average person and that's what they spoke about, wouldn't that be very nice? Wouldn't that just be an interesting situation, right? Imagine that. Like, I just go and I talk to the average person, and the average person is like, oh yeah, you know, I've been purchasing this asset because I've taken a look at it, and the theoretical chance of me losing money on this asset if I invest into it over a long period of time forever is borderline 0%. And even if the asset did collapse, I could borrow money at negative interest rates, so it wouldn't matter anyway. So I've been putting money in this asset, and I've been putting a set amount of money in this asset, and now I don't worry about money anymore because I have you know, I have this asset, and it's producing, you know, it's produced me this return, and now I don't worry about money anymore. It's all negligible to me. I can do effectively whatever the heck I want. Wouldn't that be nice? All right, instead of, oh my God, you know, maybe if I act like a good person, and you know, and I you know, turn into a bum beggar, and buddy pow pows, and everything works out for me in a magical fashion, then everything's just gonna, you know, turn into, you know, Disneyland. You know what? You know, that's not good. All right, you want money, then go and buy good assets. Hold on to those assets forever. Understand your investment, and then don't care. You know, don't take advice. Don't take opinions from anybody. If you have to, kick everybody out of your life and leave everybody for dead. All right, you'll get further in life, and you will do better for yourself, and the people who actually care about you will be happy that you did it, because you will become successful. All right, if that's what it turns into, then you have to do it. I mean, you know, and you know, the people who care about you will be happy that you succeeded. So understand that too. Everybody is not your friend. You know, you got to understand that people are malicious, right? A lot of people are a massive pile of problems, cannot be saved under any circumstance, cannot be done. All right, and you know, and if you legitimately want to get ahead, that is the answer. You know, if you honestly want to become like a, you know, because I actually, you know, if you take a look at my situation, maybe there are 3 people on the entire planet, maybe 3. It might not even be 3. I actually don't know anybody that can even do 10%. And if you think about it in terms of a monetary sense, 10% would be $2,000 a month on a 10.5 acre field. I don't know anybody that can even do that. Not a single person. All right, you know, it just is what it is. I mean, take a look at it for what it is. And if you want to go on these ridiculous, oh my God, well, you know, if he sold these 33 cattle, he would only be able to buy 20. Oh my God, he's losing money. If you want to be an idiot, go and be an idiot by yourself. Nobody cares about your opinions. Don't take anybody else down with you. All right, think about it for yourself. If I sold these 33 cattle right now, how much do you think I will make? How, in terms of a cattle figure, how many animals do you think I could buy if I followed the business plan? If you want to find out what the price of cattle feed is, how do you do it? You go on the stock market and you look up the price of corn. If you really want to know, call a grain elevator and ask for their commodity broker. I've already told you how to source your grain. I've already told you how I source my grain. I look up grain elevator on Google. I call the grain elevator and I ask for their broker. How much does your corn cost delivered? Boom, they will give you a price. And if you want a rough estimate for what the price of the feed is, how do you do it? You go on the stock market, you go on the commodity market, and then you look up the price of corn. Cattle feed will almost always follow the price of corn to some rough degree. All right, that's how you do it. None of this stuff is up for debate. It's not opinion based. It just is what it is. All right, and there's a very realistic possibility that, you know, that for about 90% of you, I actually make several hundreds of times more money than you. There is a very realistic possibility, and I'm not saying that to slap you in the face with money. I'm just saying it is what it is. I don't worry about money in any shape or form at all. You know, if I stay committed to the business and I don't, you know, develop some massive problem, I don't worry about money. I worry about other things. What does my balance sheet look like? Where's the direction of my business going? Et cetera, right? I mean, what am I looking to accomplish over the next 3 months? What kind of feed do I have? What do I think the weather conditions are going to be next month? What kind of fertilizer? That's the kind of stuff I think about. I don't even think about money. Money, I have zero money concerns, 0%. All right, and it just is what it is. Nobody cares about an opinion. All right, if you're gonna be an idiot by yourself. I mean, don't take me down with you. Don't take other people down with you. Definitely not. And if you turn yourself around, I'd be very happy for you. All right, you know, I can almost guarantee, you know, 93, 98%, something like that, something between 93 and 98% of all of you are going to be a massive pile of problems. I guarantee it. It's not one-dimensional. It is a multi-dimensional problem. Oh, well, I fell out of heaven at 7 and I want to go on a magical journey. Thank God I'm a good person, and my life is a Disneyland adventure. All right, when in reality, what should you be thinking about? Maybe I should start accumulating these assets because they're good assets. I have a reasonable idea for why they're going to appreciate, and theoretically, I can never lose money on it. I'm going to hold on to this asset forever. Find myself a way to make a little bit more money, take that money and invest it. Never worry about money again. That's something you should be thinking about. Make yourself some money. Don't sell your soul to the devil to do it, but make yourself some money, okay? You'll be better off. I'm not miserable because I have money. All right, I'm not happy because I'm not, you know, and I've always said the thing about me is I'm not happy, I'm not miserable. I'm just kind of okay. I feel okay. I mean, I don't feel miserable. You know, money didn't make me miserable. That's ridiculous. Money does not make you miserable. If you sell your soul to the devil to make money, sure, it can make you miserable. I mean, you know, if you're having difficulties, whatever, right? I mean, sure, but I don't feel miserable because I have money. That's ridiculous. I run beef cattle. All right, you know, I don't know what else. It's honest work. If you want to figure out, is it easy to make money running beef cattle, go and try it. See if you can even get to the 10% mark. See if you can even make $2,000 a month on a 10.5 acre field, and you know, nobody's stopping you. You want to go and buy a 20 acre field right now, it'll cost you about $1,200 a month. It'll cost you about $1,500 a month. Nobody's stopping you. All right, see if you can even get to the 10% mark. Have a blast. All right, you know, let me know how that works out. All right, I didn't sell my soul to the devil to make money. You know, I make a very, very, very large amount of money. And I was taking a look at everything, and that's actually the most reasonable way to put it. Is that debt? You don't actually need debt. You can actually achieve the same things without debt as you can with debt. I'm not telling you to go in debt to start a business. You know, don't leverage yourself to the eyeballs, but at the end of the day, debt is just a way to proceed faster. And that's the most reasonable way for me to put it, right? If I sold my 33 animals right now, I could buy about 53 animals. But you know, if I raise these animals all to market weight and I sold them at market weight, I would actually anticipate that those 33 animals are actually worth about 60. And so instead of waiting for me to sell all my animals at market weight, I actually go to the bank and I just take a loan for 55 animals, 53 animals, 50 animals, whatever I think is safe. So now I have 83 animals. I just pooled the money that I was going to make in the future into the present. And I just increase the speed of of the rate that I'm accomplishing things. That's a more realistic way for me to put it. And you know, and why would I do that? Because, well, I mean, you know, I take a look at my herd. My herd is stabilized. I'm actually going to start liquidating about 6 animals a month from now until about the next 5 months. That's what I would anticipate. I liquidate about 6 animals every month, and I'm going to liquidate them at about $750. And you know, I'm going to liquidate about 6 animals over the next 5 months. I'll probably sell them at about $750. You know, I'll be producing cash flow from that. And you know, I want to keep my business moving forward. And so, you know, there's a multi-dimensional reason for why I would do it. It's not just I'm going to throw money at this thing and then hope that it works out. All right, you know, it's a multi-dimensional reason, right? You know, I took a look at it and I anticipate that this is what my earnings are going to be. But instead of waiting for me to achieve those earnings and then, you know, taking 5 months, I'm just going to go ahead and pull those earnings forward. I'm just going to go ahead and invest the money right now. That's another way to think about it. It just pushes me forward faster, right? And but it's effectively you're gauging the tempo by utilizing capital. You can actually increase the speed at which your business develops, but also if you utilize debt incorrectly, you could actually put yourself in the hole forever. And I talked about this. If I went $200,000 in the hole, if I was negative 200 grand and that was zero equity debt, I legitimately just lost 200 grand. If I did that, even with my income, it would take me almost 3 years to pay off that 200 grand. You don't want to be in a situation where you go in the hole 200 grand, 400 grand with no way of recovering that money. You don't want to do that, because if you do that, that's a very, very, very serious problem. You're probably not going to be able to fix it forever. So debt is also very dangerous. And but no, and you know, do I utilize debt? Yes, I do. There are times when I do. Do I leverage myself to the eyeballs to accomplish things? No, I don't. It's a multi-dimensional situation, and it's kind of complicated. All right, you know, but it is what it is, and that's it for me today, YouTube. Y'all have a good one.